detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again for another episode. We are going to finalise the Mad Max franchise. Matty, Jared, how are we?
Good, mate.
Love it.
With 2015's Mad Max Fury Road. Now, before we get to that, just a quick little bit of up or down. The It Chapter 2 teaser trailer came out the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge up.
Yep.
It looks phenomenal. And I love the fact that they just gave you almost like a good solid snippet of one key scene.
Yeah.
And then just cut a few cut bits at the end.
Yeah.
And that sequence was exactly what the first one was like. Creepy shit with people in the background just disappearing and scuttling off and all that type of stuff. And her stopping mid-sentence to ask something really random and in this really weird voice.
Yeah, yeah.
It grabbed me straight away. So I'm a huge up.
It looks dark. It's got good actors in it. I mean,
Yep. I'm definitely up. I think that's, as you said, the scene that they showed and the woman who seemingly, is Pennywise.
Yeah.
It was just creepy as hell. That out of focus stuff in the background. Also, the few shots that we got as the Losers Club.
Yeah.
They look spot on.
Yeah.
They look like they've just nailed the young to old
casting.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be most anticipated for me.
Yeah,
no doubt. All right,
can't be worse than the original, the telemovie sequel.
Well, it seems like they're going to have more Pennywise, which is probably a good move.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting discussion when we look at both of those, because we looked at one and the first part of both versions, and now we'll have another look at the second part.
There's also talk that
the differences.
There's also talk that they're bringing stuff in from the book, like the Adrian Mellon stuff.
Yeah. Which was right at the start of the book, but they're bringing it in a different context or a different area, which I think is good. Play with the material. Let King piss and moan. Just muck around with it.
He's loving it after the first one.
Yeah, but that's when he hears the check being cut.
He'll have a little whinge.
Brilliant film.
He'll have a little whinge, and then he'll hear the dollar bill, the dollars rolling in, and he'll jump onto Twitter and say it's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, let's take a break. Strap yourselves in. We'll come back, and here's the trailer for Mad Max Fury Road.
My name is Max, a road warrior searching for a righteous cause.
War boys, return my treasures to me.
We're not going back.
Come with us.
What do you suppose he's gonna do?
Kill him.
Mad Max Fury Road, May 15th.
Mad Max Fury Road from 2015. Directed by George Miller. Produced by George Miller, Doug Mitchell and PJ Votan. Written by George Miller, Brendan McCarthy and Nick Lathouris. Now, strangely enough, I believe Nick Lathouris was actually in the first film. He was the mechanic in the garage.
Yeah.
It stars Tom Hardy as Max, Charlize Theron as Furiosa, Nicholas Hoult as Nux, and Hugh Keys-Byrne as Immortan Joe. The budget was, according to Warner Brothers, was 150 million estimated, and the box office was 378 million worldwide.
Questions about the budget, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, Jeremy Renner campaigned for the role of Mad Max. At one point in the film's long development, Michael Biehn was considered. I don't know about that. As were Channing Tatum and Heath Ledger.
Did Michael Norrie get a call?
Norrie was just off the list. Sam Worthington stated that, like Eric Bana, he'd never been approached for the role, despite widespread rumours that circulated the web following the film's announcement. So there was a few names floating around. I know they tried to do it with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s, I think. But
if you didn't like learning a script in terms of the words, this would be the perfect role to be Mad Max.
Yep. All right. I'm going to open up here. If someone had said to me, George Miller's going to make a Mad Max movie 30 years later, and it's going to be the best one in the series, I'd have said, what are you on? But this is... I mean, I'm going out on a limb here. I think this is the best pure action movie since Die Hard. It's just the set pieces are just unbelievable. The scope, the world, they take the same approach they took in the first two films. A little bit of character goes a long, long way.
Yep.
The performances are excellent. Just everything, the aesthetics, the colour palette is phenomenal. The fact that they've gone for that instead of the classic post-apocalyptic greys and that sort of stuff. Just an incredible film, and I think the best of the series. I'll give it 4.5, on par with Road Warrior, but it's just a slightly higher 4.5. Jared?
Oh yeah, go.
I'm pretty close, but flipped. I go 4.5 as well, but I think personally my favourite's Road Warrior, not by much. But yeah, it's just awesome. Like the stuff that he's doing on those vehicles is just insanity, basically. it's fucking unbelievable that the man has not killed somebody in his film career. It's like some of those parts where the cars are turned half sideways next to another car, wedged between something else, then it actually flips over and the other car fucking flips over the top of it. I'm just like, how? Like, I don't understand how you're doing this.
I mean, the question you're asking is who's alive?
Yeah, pretty much. I think of all the names you mentioned, I don't think I would have preferred anyone above Tom Hardy. I think he was excellent. It was an excellent choice. The Furiosa character, in addition to it, just topped it off. I just loved all of it, really. I had very few dislikes. I would probably agree in terms of when you're talking about pure action, that the sequences are just, they're unmatched. So yeah.
The opening sequence is, I fucking was holding my breath a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because it's all happening there. Like, it's not... They're using some CGI, obviously, to augment, because, quite frankly, as you said, Jared, he probably would have killed somebody. But it's going so quickly and there's so much happening.
What's going on, yeah.
But you never lose sight of where you are in amongst all this stuff.
He does a great job of showing just this wave of cars coming, but then he focuses on a couple of them, or he focuses on like the top of the rig just on Max while there's some hand-to-hand stuff going on. He doesn't get lost in any of it.
Yeah. Matty?
Yeah, I'll stick with you guys. The fact that they can make one road trip last for 2 hours at that pace, with that much energy, with that much going on, and develop characters, and develop plot, I really enjoyed it, and as much as any other action movie I've seen lately. So I'm happy with a 4.5 on that one. Yeah, very happy with that.
I mean, as I said before, the colour palette is just... I think it kind of differentiates it from a lot of those post-apocalyptic films, including the other Maxes, is because it takes the high colour, high gloss look, as opposed to the very kind of restrained.
I just feel like it could have easily been your John Carter, where we're throwing in Hollywood budget at it, and we're just gonna gloss over the script and just make it singularly action, and then you lose so much more that it has the stuff that's going on around the car chase, and they would have been happy with that and let it go, but it didn't. They didn't stop it. They didn't stop it. Oh, action will get us over the line. And
that's it. Even by action standards, it's an absolutely ass-kicking action film.
Yeah.
Even if the plot was pure and utter poop and the characters were one-dimensional, it wipes the floor with 90% of action.
It hams it up when it needs to, and then it just balls to the wall when it needs to as well.
God, the cast, you needed a cast that were committed, because quite frankly it would have been a prick of a shoot. There's no doubt about it. And I think Tom Hardy said at one point that he ended up apologising to Miller because he was acting like a prick because he didn't know what the fuck was going on. He said he was shooting scenes and going, where does this fit in anywhere? So he actually ended up saying, when I saw it all together, I was like, okay,
Give credit to the bloke.
But you needed people who were committed, super committed to what was getting done. I believe the filming was very long.
Yeah.
And I think everybody delivers, including the smaller parts like the Five Wives. I think all of them are just differentiated enough and given just a little bit to do.
Yeah.
I loved Nathan Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought him and Immortan Joe were just really cool kind of villains.
Yeah.
It's
you know?
pretty.
He had a bit of Gollum about him.
It's pretty funny to have have Hugh Keys-Byrne plays pretty much the two best villains of the series.
Yeah.
To have the toe cutter back in that role, and basically a whole different role.
Oh, is that the one? Which one are we talking? Nathan Jones is the...
No, so Nathan Jones was Rictus, the big son.
Beetlejuice.
But so toe cutter was Immortan Joe with the face thing on. So
So the actor from the first film was back in this one as the villain.
Yeah.
And he looked awesome with that skull
did.
face.
He looked too
and
much
the-
like Beetlejuice.
he did.
But he had the skull face and the muscle kind of body armour.
Yeah, I love Nathan Jones because he's there for some of the action stuff and to look imposing, but he's the whole, as I said to you guys, the whole man-child thing kind of worked for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It fit in nicely to what they were going for.
I like that the bad guys you knew were the bad guys, and that weird inbred world that they've got going on, but they've got the water. Like it's simple as that. They have the power because they've got the water.
We're
And
carrying
They've separated them. It's like ancient Egypt or something. Like they've separated themselves. They've got these weird customs.
Yeah.
Because they have all the power, and that's as simple as it is.
I like that how they had their own sort of little things. As you said, it's like a little family, and you had John Howard with the nose.
Yeah.
Made out of metal for some reason, and he was fucking worried about how much this was going to cost, and the resources. And then you had the bullet farm, the guy from the bullet farm that had like a judge's wig made out of bullets and shit. And
I love that bit with John Howard where they get away or something, and he just kind of looks at the camera and goes, "Oh, bollocks!" Runs over the car. I'm like, where'd that come from? Me personally, though, I actually really liked Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, he was.
He was off his rocker.
Yeah.
Screaming about Valhalla. I'll be on Valhalla. And that sequence where Max is tied to the front of the car. Now look.
Yeah.
That's not good for anybody.
Yeah. How's he getting out of this one? He's watching it the whole time.
And the worst part about that is as you watch the footage, the stunt man, and I think Tom Hardy was in it occasionally.
Yeah.
But the stunt man his arms are tied behind his back, mate. And so if that car gets out of control,
Bad luck.
see you later. He's done. If he's Grant Page, he's all right. But yeah, he was basically stuck there.
Grant Page asks to do that.
Yeah, look, put me in, George. I can't, mate. You're past it. Just the action sequences alone, but the fact that they're able to incorporate the things like. It's got a very simple plot, but they're incorporating a little bit of subtext, female empowerment, basically fleeing an abusive relationship.
There seem to be like religious subtext too. Like Nux seemed to be like a religious fanatic.
Yeah.
And being promised Valhalla and all this sort of shit. And there was stuff about early on it was like nobody's got any resources to farm, so fucking humans are being farmed and shit. It was really. Yeah,
it was dripping with all sorts of subtext, and take it as you will, what you saw out of it. But from the sheer perspective of, I felt one of the big key points was to split the lead. Max and Furiosa basically going hand in hand. Because there's a period there where Max is he's chained to the front of that car. So he's really not involved greatly. And Furiosa's driving the rig, and it's all happening up there.
And again, they're not trying to save the world. They're just trying to survive and get away with their little piece of the pie. It's not.
And I love the fact that in 15 minutes, they give us Max's capture, his quick story characterizations with his daughter, which has one of the best visual shots of the movie where he gets thrown into the water and then everything kind of goes blue and he's looking down and his daughter's talking to him from the water.
Yeah.
We get Furiosa taking the fuel. We get Immortan Joe giving that speech that basically lays the whole platform out for us. And in 15 minutes, she's double-crossed him.
Yep.
And we're on the move. And then Max is into the mix. So it doesn't take long to get going.
Not to mention Max running away from the War Boys. When I first saw that,
Looking like
he
he's pooped his pants.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, "Who the fuck are these blokes?" But I didn't quite know what they were, but they were creeping me out a bit. That whole kind of white body and the shaved heads,
it like
and how they were all they were all sort of at fever pitch all the time. It was
so excited to give their lives up. I really loved the chase for the steering wheels as well. They bought it. It just looked cool. They're all like, that's how we know it's on. We're stealing it.
And he goes, "That's my wheel."
Yeah. And how much they're fighting over it. I want to kill myself so that I can go to.
Yeah. And also in that whole 15-minute period, we also get a quick glimpse of the Interceptor. You know, they blow the Interceptor up, and the old style Interceptor.
Yep, yeah.
And then throughout the film, he keeps looking over and, "That's my car." Pointing at it. I do like that the sheer scale of the sequences. Like the moment we get on the road, they do a shot of the cars coming out. You know, all the cars kind of hitting the road and getting on its tail. And I'm just sitting there thinking, how many people are on radios going, "Now you go down that way," you know, like it's all sort of choreographed and it just looks so great on film. But I'm thinking, what are the logistics to get this to happen? Even though it's in the desert somewhere in Namibia, what are the logistics? Just the sheer logistics just to get all those cars out.
The imagination as well.
And all the cars are kind of souped up. I love the way they've all been type of... Like there's one that looks like a tank. It's got a tank bottom, but it's got like a Chevy top.
Yeah. One of the things I really liked about the action sequences was that they were all sort of distinguished from each other. Like you've got the one where they're going through the canyon, and so then you got those guys that look like friggin' Tuscan Raiders on motorbikes, jumping over the top of the rig, and they've got the part where the bullet farmer and his crew are chasing them, and it's as you said, the colour palette changes, so it's all that blue colour.
Yeah,
but they're out of the car when they start being shot at, and
then you got the bloody blokes on the poles at the end.
It's like it's just unbelievable. The amount they wring out of, you know, just
because it's all the same shit ultimately.
Pretty much,
it is the same shit if you're looking at the fact it's one big truck getting chased by.
I wasn't looking at my phone the whole time.
Exactly. You were right onto it.
As part of the scale, I love the fact they roll out a big convoy of drummers.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared's not a fan of the Doof Doof.
No, I'll get onto that. I love the drum ones for some reason. Like when they come out, the way they were set up, kind of on top of each other, like they were sort of slanted up, and they're playing it, and you know, it's the score, which was really cool. I think it was Junkie XL.
Yeah.
The way that it was kind of like a call to arms. In like we can hear it, but you just get that short moment of it's like them kind of playing it, setting it all up. And
are we thumbs up or down on the guitarist?
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm not a fan of the guitarist. He feels out of place. He does. I mean, the visual of him is cool when he's kind of the flames are flying out.
Yeah.
But once you actually look again, you're kind of like.
Yeah.
Well, like, and George Miller's crapped on about how, look, you know, I had a backstory for you. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's the backstory?
Look, if we're going into it now, I think I'm happy to be on an island because I think, you know, some people love him, but the Doof Warrior was just not.
No, he wasn't for me.
The way that he was hanging off the cords and he's kind of shaking and moving.
Guitars hard enough to play when you're sitting still.
Exactly. At the end, doesn't he? He seems to be
he's kind of like a war boy or something, isn't he?
He looks like a war boy, but he also looks kind of like he's blind or something.
Yeah.
I was just like...
You'd hope he's blind. You wouldn't want to see what was going on around you if you were...
I also burst out laughing where there's a part where he's fucking asleep, seemingly, but he's just hanging from the cords.
Yeah,
I wasn't quite...
He was ultimately one of probably my only dislike. He just was not really in the right place for me. As weird as everything was.
It was kind of funny, yeah.
That opening action scene though, where you got the blokes, things are blowing up left and right. The war boys are throwing those spears with the explosive tips, and the one where the bloke just leaps off it with two out like that and lands straight on it. Just an awesome shot because it's shot from the back and then cuts to the side so you can actually see him in mid-air. it's just incredible, you know, and the stuff's just blowing up left.
I also
and right.
like that directly after that, like before he does that, he's singing out the "Witness Me" business, and then he fucking blows the car up. They're all there going mediocre. I'm sitting there going, that's fucking far from mediocre. I'm clapping him. Well done, champ. You're going to Valhalla for sure.
You know what? The stunt team were doing that to each other as well. Mediocre.
Yeah, I think it was. I think they actually just got caught in a bit of Grant Page on the audio track. Yeah, oh, mediocre. Shit. We better get someone saying that so I don't look out of place.
The fight between Max and Furiosa and the wives, where him and Nux are still chained together, and that is golden.
Yeah.
It's gold.
Oh, it's fucking
because
awesome.
it never goes into slow-mo or nothing. It's all happening at once, and there's so much going on, and once again, you never lose sight of where the key pieces are.
Yeah.
You know, like...
She loses her arm halfway through that fight.
Yeah. So she's got one arm. He's chained to Nux, who's unconscious. The wives are attacking him at the same time. It takes it's about a minute and a half long.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. Like, I just didn't want it to end because it was just so well choreographed and everything was happening in the right place.
That
was the scene you saw in advance?
Yeah, I was at a convention and they didn't say it was going to happen beforehand, but I got there on the day and then just however, I think it was on the schedule, heard this Mad Max Fury Road preview and I was like, oh fuck, what's this? I better check it out. So I rolled in there and you had to surrender your phone and I'm like, oh, this is a bit unusual, and they showed that clip, and at the time obviously me and Adam are talking back and forth, we're not sure about Fury Road or whatever, and so they showed that basically from where he arrives there with the gun to the end of the fight, really.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of walked out and, got my phone back and I'm straight on the text to Adam going, mate, I just saw a minute and a half of Fury Road and it looks fucking awesome. If the whole thing's like this, it's going to be awesome. But, so
I've got regrets I didn't see this one in the cinema.
Man.
It's out there in terms of action with your Star Wars or whatever.
It made my chest...
feels like one you'd have to watch on the big screen.
Yeah.
Because it was so loud and all the cars, the fucking chest was rumbling. We were going...
Yeah, we went to I think me and you went to a screening at Dandy where they had the Interceptor and they gave us a beer beforehand. Tell you what, if they'd given us a couple of beers, I'd have been fucking out of a seat and cheering.
The next action scene involving the blokes from Gastown, the guys with the motorbikes.
Yeah.
Bloody incredible.
Don't you wish Triple X took a note out of this book?
Yeah, well, he likes motorbikes, so he could have been jumping over a rig or something. It would have been more exciting.
I love that, as you said, Jared, they're flying over the top and both Furiosa and Max are just sort of leaning out the window going...
Bang, bang, yeah.
And then one of them rides the motorbike, ditches it, and grabs Furiosa around the legs as she's trying to get up into the bum of the... And it was just, again, I'm just thinking, what the... What's going on there? And also, a couple of times there's an explosion and a bloke falls off the rig and you just see the impact on the ground. Like, you see him hit the ground and I'm like, oh, God. What's the damage there?
Yeah. Same as that heart-wrenching... That's the same scene where the wife goes...
at the door.
After that,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I like the way they do the kind of the switch where they hit the rock, and he looks back and she reappears and he kind of gives her the thumbs up, and then suddenly she slips off the rig.
When Mad Max goes, she went under the wheel and she hasn't, but he's like, too late. He's like, collateral damage. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. We're not going back, basically.
Yeah.
And again, I love that about the character. It was back to the Max of old.
Yeah, that's right.
You
got to have some collateral damage in these things, and sometimes you just got to be realistic and move on.
I really like the idea of that sequence, as you said, with the bullet farm, and they're out of the car, out of the truck, and it's kind of tense because they're trying to get out of the bog, and he's shooting blindly. But I also love the bit where Max has the sniper rifle. He takes 2 shots.
Yeah.
And he kind of just
holds
it up, and she takes the third and takes him out. I just thought, again, it was that kind of two-handed kind of lead, and it worked so well. And I also love the fact that they do that. After all this carnage we've seen, they do a little bit of subtlety. Max disappears into the night. You hear an explosion. He returns with a bag full of ammo with blood all over him. What happened? Oh, yeah, you know. And she's like, he's bleeding. Are you all right? That's not his blood. It's just that little subtlety to the whole thing. After we've destroyed the entire half of Namibia, but we'll just subtly bring that in.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
I don't think my heart could have handled another action sequence. I think that's why. We better take care of someone on screen, or we might have a couple of heart attacks in the cinema.
And the final set piece, going back to the Citadel.
Yeah. How much disappointment is there in between? You're just like,
Bloody
it's
hell.
not here. It's not here. Oh, bad luck.
Yeah. But
Even that stuff though, like one of my likes was how I can't remember what her name is, but the blonde wife forges the relationship with the old bird with the bag of seeds.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see there's parts of it where you think she was like you. You know, she had hope and she had this. Now she's just, but you know, she's still got this hint of it where she's got the little tree in her bag that's growing and nothing else is growing. And I'm just like, that was kind of cool. That stuff that we missed in things like that we missed in Thunderdome that kind of just made it.
And again,
And you're extending the universe by giving little snippets of humanity.
Yeah.
and the little relationship that they forged between Nux and can't remember I think it was Capable was the wife. They only get like 2 scenes together, but they just sell you. There's a little bit of, there's a slight relationship forming there, and he actually points to her before he heads to Valhalla at the end. He kind of points out the window at her. But that last action scene is just, it is all happening. All happening, and there is some of the most incredible shots. The one of Max on the pole, and he swings across, and in the background, 4 cars are going up, exploding at the same time. I'm just like, one of them doing a flip. And all I'm thinking is, sorry, George, we didn't get that. What?
One of the cars was just out of frame. Fucked it up.
Right, cut, do it again. Back to the top. Yeah,
Trying to keep this under budget.
Yeah, you fucked my bonus. Thanks very much.
And then there's another shot of how they have just the convoy in that hazy sun look, and you can just see those poles just going swinging back and forth with these blokes on it, and it's only like for a second, but it's just such a cool shot in between all this mayhem.
Yeah,
they just cut to that for a second and they come back, and some blokes getting blown out of a window. They're ripping the top off cars.
There's blokes jumping on with chainsaws and things.
The Doof warrior finally gets his comeuppance.
Oh, poor bastard. He's thinking, what did I do?
I'm just a bloody talent. I'm not here to kill anyone. I'm just playing the soundtrack. And I think that just Immortan Joe having his face ripped off to really stamp the ending on things really, puts a right, full stop right at the end.
Yeah, just the exclamation point on top of it.
Just rips his face clean off. That was it for me. Plenty to like there. I could go back and watch that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I got a feeling you will.
Oh, it's on Netflix, thankfully, so I could give it another run.
Yeah.
Any others?
No, that was me. Pleased.
Dislikes.
Yeah, not much.
Obviously
the Doof Warrior.
Oh, man.
I don't know what it is. I've just got it in for him.
He's in like a red... It looks like he's in a red bloody pair of pyjamas. Where you unbutton the arse so you can go to the toilet.
Well, there's if they're not going to unclip him from his bloody...
Well, it seems he's sleeping there. According to you came across him in a sequence of sleep.
He was. Go back and watch it just before one of the things starts. He's fucking laying there, and then he kind of, oh shit, it's on. He hits the drums and
You wouldn't expect he'd get much of a run, would you? Like, how many times is there a coup to get your wife stolen off you? It's not.
Yeah, but he just
Why have they got him strapped in there 24/7?
What's he doing in between when there's no war parties?
Get back up in your harness, mate. You never know.
He plays.
You want to get to the afterlife or not?
Yeah, you got to be at the ready, mate. You're not allowed to
The
come
bloke
out.
plays pubs and clubs at the Citadel most nights. Normally, he's not strapped into the back of a vehicle.
Drinks and tips.
I'm with Matty. He's not allowed out. He's
For
got to be-
water and gasoline.
He's got to be at the ready. He's got to be ready to go. As soon as the blokes with the drums jump up and he's just got to be, he's just having a snooze. He's got to be back.
I love the fact that Immortan Joe requires a soundtrack crew to come with a drum kit and a guitar band.
It's part of the culture.
Yeah, the keyboardist got fucking knocked over in the last raid that we went on.
That's why we've got no cymbals.
Yeah, we got a triangle back there.
Yeah, he was killed in the Great Raid of 3000.
Yeah, he was killed in the Great Raid of Bartertown.
Yeah, he was killed in that raid. Wimp. They constantly go, listen, mate, we're a bit light on drummers. Can you grab a couple of fresh fellas to come on in?
Yeah, it's not as a prestigious a position, the drummer. There's 4 of them, so yeah.
I used to think it was prestigious, then they started getting killed in car accidents.
Yeah.
Started going, oh shit, hang on. The only other thing that I didn't like was it was more of a, for a $150 million budget, you'd think you'd get better special effects, but the pregnant belly that the wife is wearing, it looks like something out of the bloody Funny Shop. Oh, come on, fellas.
Well, it's been made clear that George was trying to get a bonus for staying under budget. So when you're blowing up cars, you've got to get the pregnant bellies from the Funny Shop. That's just how it works. Like.
Look, we need $2,000 for a proper special effects man to come in and do a belly. I've crunched the numbers, mate. In 2000, we've got 200. Actually, no, we've got 100. Get out there and actually, no, let's split that. We can blow up another car for 50.
Yeah, I think I actually had to see some of the CGI stuff as well. Like, it didn't.
Couple of times
it
was a little.
improved, but early on, like there was ones where I think one I remembered was when Immortan Joe was standing at the top and speaking out over the Citadel.
Yeah,
and it just looked like a cutout. Like
yeah, and there was another one where Max runs outside the Citadel and realises he's looking down into the off a mountain basically. Yeah. And it looks not shit house, but it just looks.
Didn't quite cut it,
doesn't it?
And it seemed to pick up, once they hit this sort of sandstorm and things like that. Unless fucking Miller conjured up a real sandstorm, which I wouldn't put past the bloke. He's probably checked the schedule and penciled in the action sequence for when they were having a gigantic sandstorm.
Yeah, he's going. We must shoot the action scene on this day, but we're not ready, George. We must shoot the action scene on this day.
Yeah, I think it improved as it went along. Like those weather effects and things that came into it were fine. They looked pretty good. But so minor thing early on. Quite honestly, that was about all I had. I didn't really have any.
My dislikes were like completely forgivable. I thought Nux turned a little bit too easily, but you haven't got 5 hours to change him from his dogma religion. And then
he does change pretty quickly because he starts driving the rig about an hour in.
Yeah, it was a pretty big shift.
But it's forgivable. You have to make the plot go when pretty much 90% of it's car crashes.
Yeah. And they did. They gave him a moment to see his kind of deity kind of just go, fuck, when he drops the gun. Basically just kind of, have a moment to shatter the illusion a little bit. But it was a big turn from I'm going to kill myself in the cause if need be to,
Yeah, and look, some of that stuff was okay. It was important in a sense, but again, you're right.
You've got to make it go. Like, it's just picking hands.
I mean, in a way, Miller was hamstrung by the fact that this is basically 2 hours of just absolute balls to the wall. And
well, when you got to squeeze in time for the Doof Warrior and all this, I guess
his associated backstories,
you cut things out.
He's like the piano man. He's just, playing in dive bars.
Yeah.
Now that we've talked it out, I want a movie on how the Duffory became the Duffory.
Well, I think that was in Miller's plans, but he's not now. He's now not looking to make it anymore because you won't pay me.
That's right. He wants that $7 million bonus.
Yes.
Taking him to court.
You know what though? I cannot believe he didn't win the Oscar for Best Direction. I can't. I think it was The Revenant, and I believe that is also an extremely well directed film. Yeah. But I mean, I had a mate of mine who watched all of the films from that year, and he was he was a big fan of film and that, and he basically said this was the best movie of the year.
Yeah. There's politics.
And I just think that this, even logistically, from a direction standpoint, you're talking about something that most directors couldn't do.
Well, he deserves an award, as we said, for not fucking seriously injuring anybody.
He's an Academy Award for that?
He needs an Academy Award for it. And an honorary Academy Award.
You know what? Warner Brothers for keeping $20 million on ice for being sued at some point.
Yeah, that's probably
there
where
must be some sort of like Stuntman's Awards where.
But honestly, after this, wouldn't you just? Where does it come in that someone in the exec boardroom or whatever goes, we need to settle because if we don't have another Mad Max movie, we're not going to make $150 million, $200 million, whatever it is. Like,
The other thing too, though,
squibble over that sort of thing. Just give him the bonus and get on with it.
My thinking too is, as a stuntman, that's the end of the line for me. Like, even if I'm 20 and it's one of my first gigs, I think I'm going, well, look, I really can't go anywhere else. Like, this is it. Because that was the peak of the... It's got to be peak of stuntman work, surely. And, I love the fact that Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy getting paid $20 million or something, and there's some poor pricks getting thrown off a vehicle for a couple of grand.
I don't know how Charlize Theron isn't one of the wives. Let's be honest, by the way. She's the one arm, maybe.
He's picky.
I
don't like her makeup. That's as bad as you can get, right?
Yeah. And see, I also dug some of that stuff where she just talked very briefly about where she was born and how it had been, the green land, and she loved it, and they stole me away.
Yeah.
All that stuff is one or two lines, but it just works so well in the context of everything.
Yeah.
Any other dislikes, people?
Nah.
It had me from the moment he ate the two-headed lizard at the beginning. And didn't lose me all the way through. So
Hardy was
done.
Hardy was just the perfect amount of Tom Hardy weird. And his accent. A couple of times his accent sounded bang on Australian.
Yeah.
And then a couple of times he slipped into Bane again.
Yeah.
He was just going back. I was all for it.
Yeah. He because he didn't have that much to say. It worked, and he's a physical type of dude, so it really worked as well in that respect. But
great movie,
absolutely great movie. That is Mad Max Fury Road. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podomatic. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at thrillmepodcast.au. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for the next film. Big thanks again to Ali for suggesting Mad Max, because I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, I haven't seen
to be back in the driver's seat. And until
you'll be going straight back to Valhalla tomorrow, won't you?
Right into it. I'll be home from work immediately on to Mad Max Fury Road. But until next episode, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.